I'm Paul Fox-Hughes. I'm the Senior Severe Weather Meteorologist at the Bureau in Hobart, and so I look at these sorts of events where we've had very heavy rainfall or winds or extreme fire weather, basically any sort of weather extremes. What we've had over the last few days, of course, is a extreme rainfall event. One of three we've had this year, in fact, and all of them have been caused by the passage of low pressure systems near Tasmania. So what we've seen over the last couple of days is a series of lows that have moved into a generally low pressure environment over southeastern Australia, and within that broad environment there have been a number of smaller low pressure systems develop. So we've had, for example, to Monday morning, a broad low pressure area just north of Tasmania. Thunderstorms which developed within that area produced 150 millimetres over Eddystone Point. In the next 24 hours we saw further heavy rainfall in the northeast, where there was another 70 odd millimetres of rain at Eddystone and at St Helens. And then in the 24 hours to 9 AM this morning, low pressure systems again moved close to central and southern Tasmania and produced heavy rainfall, this time more focused towards, or initially yesterday morning, the northeast. So most of the 100 odd millimetres that fell at St Helens occurred up to mid-afternoon yesterday, including 23 millimetres of rain in half an hour around midday yesterday. But slowly the focus of that heaviest rainfall moved further southwards, and we saw rainfall intensifying in Hobart and surrounding areas late yesterday afternoon and into last night. By 9 o'clock this morning we'd had 79 millimetres in Hobart, and we'd seen rainfalls up to 125 millimetres in the southeast. The highest was 125 at Hastings, but there were quite a few places with around 100 millimetres as I say, mostly in the southeast and the east. It's all easing off now as the low pressure area gradually moves off into the Tasman Sea. If I draw up a couple of maps here, the forecast maps for the next few days show that low pressure area that I was talking about gradually moving off to be replaced by high pressure systems. So conditions are easing over the next day or two. We'll probably see in Hobart a continuation of the murky weather, but certainly not the heaviest rainfalls. In terms of rainfall records, Hobart's had the highest rainfall in a 24-hour period to 9 AM in the last 50 years. The last time we had more than anything like this was in 2006, where there were 74 millimetres of rain fell in a 24-hour period to 9 AM. But we pipped that at about 7:30 this morning, and as I say, ended up with 79 millimetres to 9 AM. It was 23rd of April 1960 when we last saw a heavier rainfall, and that was during the Hobart rivulet floods, and in fact there was 132 millimetres of rainfall in that 24-hour period. So there was no way we were going to get quite close to that, which is probably a good thing. In general, we don't see very often at all rainfalls of this sort of intensity. It's only maybe 10 or 11 times in the Hobart record of 120 odd years that we've seen a rainfall that's exceeded what we've recorded so far this morning. Most of those are associated with the passage of low pressure systems, and into the future climate models suggest that we're likely to see longer periods of dry conditions and then more intense bursts of rainfall. Certainly that's what has been observed over the last decade or so, particularly in the northern hemisphere, and seems to be the way things are developing around the world generally.